So David Avanesian, he goes 6 with Terrence Crawford and goes 5 with Jaron Ennis. What's your thoughts? And then
Mm.
obviously we have to compare them. I know, but we have to because that's the measuring stick. So what you thought
Uh,
about the fight so far?
Boots did good. I mean, it wasn't his best performance, but he did good. I mean, Evanesian's a tricky guy. He's world class. He's not as good as Boots or Bud, but he's the level below that. But he could give guys a lot of trouble. Remember what he did to the prospect, Josh Kelly? Boots did good. I give him a B on his performance. It was a solid performance.
Um, why did you give him a B?
I got hit a little bit. You know what I mean? His was crazy. His fight and Bud fight with Evanesian look similar. Like I watched both of they fight side by side, and Avanesian got like a little tricky right hand where he like square up and be in a little bit of a southpaw stance, and he could like hit you with a shot. And both of Boots and Bud is both killers, even though they fight a little bit different. Bud is a little older, so he's a little bit more calmer with his approach. I kind of compared one to the Jordan of the '90s and Bud, and Boots the Jordan of the '80s, where he's like showing his athleticism and stuff a little more. Where in the '90s, Jordan take you in the post, shoot his fadeaway, but they got the same result. But he was hitting both of them with that little sneaky little shot. He's a good little crafty fighter. He just don't have what they have. So I give him a B because I think that Boots really wants to impress the crowd, and I'm not mad at that because the crowd is the paying customer, and you have to give them something to want to come see, and it is entertainment. But I think he sacrifices his defense a little bit for the crowd. You know, I've been in the gym with him. If he decides to use his jab and just play it safe, then guys won't touch him. So now there's a little moniker, he don't have good defense. He can get hit with overhand rights. And I'm not saying that it's not happening because he do get hit with overhand rights but his defense is better than people um realize. He's just a killer. And when you're a killer, you you get hit a little bit more because you opening up. And I looked at Bud's fight with Ebenezer and I looked at Boots. It's the same fight. It really is. If you watch those fights, you'll be like, damn, it was about the same thing. Both he hit both guys, but both guys weren't overly concerned with his power, so they stayed in the danger zone. Bud got the cleaner stoppage, with the right hook, he just put him out. But Boots kind of just beat him down and hurt him. But it was getting to that point, you know what I mean? It was getting to that point when the fight was stopped. They stopped it for a reason. So I think it was about the same level of performance, to be honest with
Mm. you know, um, like you said, it was a lot cleaner performance because of the KO, and then obviously with his performance, he quit on the stool. But in your behalf, there's a lot of people. Bud mentioned, is that a world class fighter? Do you feel like this is just competitive talk, or did you see certain things besides Boots getting, distracted from the crowd? Just in his repertoire, and also, what do you think about? Is he listening to Bozy in the corner? Does the crowd mess that up for a young fighter in your behalf?
you. I was there live at the fight, so I can't hear what him and his dad are saying to each other. So I can't hear that. But I do think that like people being around because most fans are casuals, right? So they always screaming, knock him out, knock him out, knock him out. They don't even think you're supposed to get hit. They don't understand that a guy is world class. He just not gonna just go in there and you tap him and he just breaks like a piece of glass. It's not gonna happen like that. So, I was in the section where people was getting antsy after the second round because they expected the guy to just go in. And I'm like, he can fight. He do have two hands. He didn't come to lay down. He is, you know what I mean, a world class fighter. Just because he's not as good as Boots, that doesn't mean he's just gonna blow him out the ring. So I just think that Boots, for as talented as he is, he's still finding himself. He's still saying, okay, should I take a chance here or should I play it safe here? Obviously, he's a gunslinger and he's going in there to destroy guys. And when you're young and you never been hurt, you fight like that. And then sometime, your style settles down as you get a little bit older and you become a little bit more calculated. I just think we're watching in his prime, 27-year-old fighter that's young and rigorous that was off a year. He's a little anxious. He wants to show everybody I could punch hard. I could get these guys out of here. I want to be dominant. I want to get my fan base up under me. I think it's a lot going on with that. And you got a kid that's been inactive. So he's trying to bring, more viewers to him. They fighting the kid. The kid was fighting once a year. As good as he is, he's knocking everybody out. He's fighting once a year for like the last 2, 3 years. So it's kind of, I'm sure he's frustrated with his schedule. So he wants to go out there and he's a little bit anxious. I think that as time goes on, he'll settle down and he'll know who to do certain things against. There's certain guys you take a chance with, and there's certain guys you play a little bit more safer. One of the reasons why I picked Bud to beat Canelo, and people call me crazy, is because I've seen, even though Bud is got hurt a couple of times, and he gets hit a little bit also. I've seen him fight that defensive fight to let me know he can fight that when he has to, and he fought that against a guy named Victor Pascal. And I was like, damn, Bud could really move, fight on the move, calm the fight down, scale the fight back. If you look at Bud in that fight, for whatever reason, Pascal's power, even though he didn't have a lot of knockouts, it made Bud a little bit careful. And Bud fought a real smart box. It was like the perfect fight that he fought. And and the same people that was criticizing him for getting hurt by Gamboa, he moves up and fights a perfect fight against Victor Pascal. And I know Boots could fight that fight. I've seen him be smart and, just, fight that careful fight and be real smart. And so I seen him, do that. So I think that he could scale it back a little bit once he finds a guy a little bit more threatening. And I think he could fight that classic boxer fight if he have to. But listen, the kid may have a chin that allows him to go ahead and just bulldoze guys. He may have it because he don't seem to be bothered when he get hit with that shit. He just keep rolling. So let's see. We don't know until we see. The knockdown, Alanesian was actually landing a punch. And Boots is up against the rope. He landed a right hand, and then Boots dropped the left hand on him. And it's very similar to what Bud did versus Earl Spence. Earl Spence hit Bud with a big overhand left. Bud invited him in up against the rope, and Bud threw an uppercut up underneath. And everybody saw the overhand left on the top, and they didn't over the top, and they didn't see the uppercut underneath. And Bud was able to score the knockdown. So sometimes guys that's gifted like that, they'll let you take an opening and they'll take a shot, just to get you to open up. So we got to just see moving forward.
In your behalf, as far as looking at him, right? Do you feel like he should take? And obviously, a Bud fight's not right away. For him, it doesn't look like it. Bud is not showing interest, but in reality, do you feel like he needs a couple fights to have in between time for a Terrence Crawford, or do you believe he could just go in there right now?
I think that I'm not saying who's going to win the fight because I honestly don't know. It's a close fight. But I think that, he's 27, Bud's about to be 37, that I think that he could fight him now if he had to. I think that the more time goes by, the older Bud's going to get, and the more people are going to say, well, Bud's 37, well, he's 38. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to take away from the fight. I think that some fighters, when he's special, and, I think that they don't have to go through all the stages of progression that everybody else have to go through. And I kind of think the same thing that happened to Bud is happening to Boots, where Bud was kind of like boxed out for a long time. I can remember arguing with people in Philly like as early as 2012. There's a writer in Philly named George Hansen. It wasn't really an argument, but I said, man, it's this kid named Terrence Crawford that's better than Adrian Broner. He was like, no way. I said, I'm telling you, he is. He just haven't had the opportunity yet. And it took Bud a long time to get his opportunity. I think he won the title. He was about maybe 26, 25, 26, similar to the age of Boots. But his biggest fight at lightweight was like Rory Beltran or No, it was the guy who won the gold medal, Gamboa. That was his biggest fight at lightweight. But Bud never had huge fights up until he got to 147. But even then, it was Khan and Brook and Porter was a pretty big fight. And then obviously he got the Earl Spence fight. So he was denied those opportunities a long time. And I feel like that, he could have came through and beat guys a lot earlier had he been given opportunities earlier. And I feel the same way with Boots. I don't think he's 27. He has 33 professional fights. I don't think he has to take too many more tune-ups to be ready for a big fight. I think that other eras, guys was already in the Hall of Fame by the time they're 27. So everybody wants to slow everything down. I think he'll be better versus the better competition, and I think he's ready. Whether he could beat Bud or not, I don't know, but I don't think he needs any more marinade, and I think he's ready to go.
I mean, you just said that, there's no tune-ups, and I know that word tune-up means so many different words, like so many ways for certain people. Is there such thing as a champion that's a tune-up for a Terrence Crawford? Just knowing, he's been, undisputed champion in two weight divisions. He's a three-division champion, moving up for another weight class to become a four-division champion. I mean, is a guys like Stanionis, Barrios, are those guys, guys that could possibly be tune-ups for a
You
guy
know
like
what,
Terrence
man?
Crawford? Because we haven't seen, Boots in there with a champion at
I'm,
147
I'm,
pounds.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you something very interesting. A couple years ago, I'm cool with Crawford's trainers, believe it or not. Even I'm cool with Boots' trainer. And Crawford was looking for sparring. Boots was looking for sparring. And the closest uh, the closest thing to, if you want to get Boots' style, you box Crawford. If you want to get Crawford's style, you box Boots. They're very, very similar. So Stanionis and Barrios, they're good fighters. I'm not going to disrespect them. I really would like to see Boots versus Stanionis. But Boots will be a huge favorite to beat all of those guys. None of them fight like Crawford. And all people going to do is be like, man, he should have beat them anyway. Slow Mexican, blah, blah, blah. You know how people talk. He's not going to get no credit for beating Barrios after Tank Davis, who's a 35-pounder, beat him, and after Keith Thurman, who's an older, inactive fighter, beat him. Stanionis is a good test, and I would like to see that. But Stanionis don't fight nothing like Crawford. So maybe he could get a little bit more experience versus the top level and hurry up and get back in the ring. I'm not saying that he doesn't need it because you always get better, but I'm just saying that he's ready for the top level, and the top level is Terrence Crawford. And whether he will win, lose, or draw, I think that at this point, it's time to make the fight. If they're gonna make the fight, I don't think the fight's gonna get made personally. I kind of think they kind of from different eras. They 10 years apart, and it seemed that Bud, who would be the A side of the fight, he's looking for titles in multiple divisions and a possible Canelo fight where Boots is not in his division anymore. So I don't think that the fight is going to get made, but I do think that Boots is ready for that level of fighter, and I think that he'll be better once he gets up there.
So basically, what you're saying is, if Boots don't go up to 54 and do something, it's not going to be made.
No, I don't think it's going to be me. I mean, but listen, I don't, I can't tell you what to say, but that phrase, like the way you said it, makes it seem like it's on Boots to make the fight. Listen, the A side in the fight had more power than the B side. Terrence Crawford is the A side. He's a bigger star than Boots. He's established more than Boots. He's done more in boxing than Boots. He makes more money than Boots. So he is the person who has more power over this, if this fight can be made or not. Like Earl Spence was the person who had more power over him and Crawford could be made. Crawford was the undisputed champion at 147. He's the one who left the division. So it's not about if Boots goes up there. They could have fought at 147 where they both was at. Now, if Crawford offers Boots a fight at 154 and then Boots turn it down, then it's on him. But Boots don't have the power to make the fight. Crawford has the power to make the fight. He's the established star. He's the one that has to call up and say, "Hey, young man, here go 10 million. Come get your ass beat." He's the one who has the power to do that. Boots is just getting his feet wet. He's probably made 1 million, maybe 2 million in the fight. He hasn't done what Crawford's done. He don't have no power in that. So I don't like to get into this because it's not my fighters, but people have this general misconception of like how these fights get made. The person who slices the bigger piece of the pie has the power on how the fight gets made. So whereas Canelo and Bud, Canelo is the one who has the power of that. Crawford could go up to 168 all he want and fight whoever he want to fight. If Crawford, if Canelo got the power to say, you deserve a shot at me now, I will fight you. And in Crawford and Boots' case, it's on Crawford. And I'm not saying he's scared. I don't believe he's scared of nobody. Crawford, to me, is a savage killer, and he will fight anybody. But the business and the people that's behind him, they may not think Boots is on the radar because you only can fight one fight at a time. He hasn't fought in a year, and he may be looking for something different. But Boots go to 54.
Is
Okay,
he on his
he'll just
radar?
be in line, huh?
Is it? I mean, is he on his radar? I mean, is Boots on Crawford's radar?
I don't know. You have to ask Crawford that. I
Because
really don't know.
right, because
From what
cause
I'm
we got
hearing Crawford say is that,
Eddie's promoting like it is, as he should,
listen,
as he
it's
should.
yes, he's a promoter, so you can't. He's a promoter. I don't know if Boots is on Crawford's radar. I don't know because I hear Crawford moved up, right? He's the one who left 47. Uh, if Boots was on his radar, I guess he could have said, "Let's fight at 47 for all four of my belts." So it seems like he wants to win 4 division titles, which is very big historically. I don't know if you know this or not, but there's only a few fighters who ever won titles at 135 and 154. Pacquiao, Mayweather, Shane Mosley, Oscar De La Hoya, Roberto Duran. That's it. That's a very short list. So Crawford is trying for something historical, and he did win all 4 belts at 147. So he doesn't have to wait on Boots. But I don't know. It seems like to me that he wants to belt at 154, maybe unify. That will be 4 divisions. Maybe 160 would be 5 divisions. Maybe Canelo, which would be 6 divisions, which will go into a rare, rare, rare place. So it seems like that he's just on something different right at
On
this moment. And he's
Yeah,
37, and he may not like these fights seem to take forever to make. I mean, Crawford had the best
it's
performance
not
of his
making
career last
sense.
summer.
It's starting. If you put yourself in his shoes, it's not making sense.
Yes, yes. So when people want to like argue with me about the fight, not you, because you're not arguing, but people like they gonna. I'm like, I don't even think they're gonna fight. So it's really not worth talking about. Booth shouldn't have to go chase Crawford because of what Crawford decided to do. Crawford was the one in his division.
Now, does he
So
become
like,
a Demetrius Andres at that point? You know what I mean? Because we have
no. I don't think he's going to become
no.
Demetrius Andre. No
What can
disrespect
Eddie
to
do?
Andre.
What can Eddie do for him then?
I'm going to tell you why he won't become a Demetrius Andre. I'm going to tell you why. This is just my opinion, and I really like Andre
Styles.
as a fighter.
Nah, yeah,
Yes,
Styles. Yeah,
that's a big deal.
big deal.
Andre
Huge
would
deal.
knock guys down, right, and then just play it
Coast.
safe and go to a decision, and he will coast. So that's why I'm not going to criticize Boots.
Because he was a good amateur. He was
Yeah.
a good amateur, so he was used to that.
So that's why I'm not going criticize Boots because Boots getting that same situation, the same exact situation that Andre's in, and he goes for the kill and gets a knockout. Where Andre
Yeah.
is more comfortable with getting a decision. So his people will tune in to see Boots more because the one thing nobody can say is, oh man, he gonna run around the ring, he ain't gonna throw no punches, he not gonna take no chances. That's not in his nature. There's other talented fighters that get criticized for that, but he's not one of them. So the eyeball test, and God knows this is no shot at Demetrius Andre. That's my guy. I think he's a cool dude and an excellent fighter. Andre ain't the killer that Boots is. He
Right.
just not. Andre is cool with going to a decision and not taking certain chances, where Boots is not. They two different guys in that aspect. So I don't think that
And
Boots.
Boots could be the face of the zone boxing, honestly. Like
Yes, yes.
for
Where
us Americans.
put it this way, put it this way. Sometimes, man, there's a certain charisma in a person that allows people to follow them. And from my perspective, and I don't know if you're going to agree with this, it's easier to promote Jaron Ennis than it is Demetrius Andre.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I
Absolutely.
don't think he's going to be Andre. I think he's going to accomplish more, have a bigger following behind him. I think that Boots is at a point now where he's so exciting where people just want to see him. They don't care who he fights. Nobody came to see David Avenesian. And I can remember
Right.
when I was younger, you know, Roy Jones, Mike Tyson, and Tommy Hearns had this kind of appeal where it was that, you know, that that urban appeal where, you know, all the people from their city wanted to see him and they were boxer punchers and they could box, but they was killers too and they would knock you out. People would just want to tune in to see that. And with Boots, he has that kind of flair to me where I think people just, as long as he's fighting the best available guy, ring rated top 10 guys, guys that are, you know, ranked pretty high, that's going to come in there and fight and not lay down like David Avenesian. I think that he could just be active and within a year, I think he's already a bigger star than Demetrius Andre ever was, to be honest. And Andre was an
Already, yeah,
Olympian.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Facts.
You know,
Facts,
I
hundred
was
percent.
there. I was there and I saw Boots. I saw it was 14,000 people in there, bro. It took me a half an hour just to get out of the parking lot. I felt the same way coming down there as I go down there for a Sixers or Eagles playoff game. The city really got behind them. Eddie Hearn did a great job. I don't know what happened with Eddie Hearn and Andre, but he did a great job with Boots. I think they different fighters, and I think Boots
No,
is
it is
already a bigger
the
star
best
than Andre.
investment. The best investment. I think
Yes,
that it's gonna open a lot of doors for the zone and the matchroom, because I mean I think he got more. Same thing with Devin Haney. He got what Devin Haney don't got. You know what I'm saying? So even if Demetrius Andre still got that wacky pizzazz characteristic, right, of himself, right? You still got Devin Haney that kind of has that little swag, that little hip hop swag to him, but the style speaks for itself
and
no
Boots
matter what.
and Boots and Boots got all of it. That's the
All
problem. It's not the problem, but that's the difference. Boots got all of it. He got the urban style where he got the big city behind him, the big East Coast city in Philadelphia. We the second biggest city over here besides New York. So you got that behind him. So you got the young people that relate to him because he got the little hip hop cultural thing. I don't even like that word, but he got that. And he's a killer in the ring. So he displays his talent, but he displays him in a violent way.